Hey, it's Meatball.
And Mark.
And this is the Rocker Morning Show on demand from 107.7 RKR. 107.7 RKR, it is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, Mark. We kind of touched on it at the beginning of the show, but the war with Ohio has apparently started early this year. Their National Guard bombed Michigan last week.
How?
With full fuel tanks and F-16s.
How? What is this?
All right, here's the story. The Ohio National Guard was apparently taking part in some flight training and drills late last week when an F-16 based out of Toledo claims it was in distress and made a call to the proper channels. The plane was accompanied by another F-16 that did not report any issues, but did follow the jet back to Toledo, where they both landed safely, but not before leaving behind a little something for the state of Michigan. Deputies in Iosco County say the jet dropped both of its fuel tanks to return to the base, but in the process, one landed in a parking lot near East Tawas before it briefly caught fire and damaged a few vehicles. The second tank landed just off the coast in Lake Huron, north of Baldwin Resort Road, and it exploded.
Good Lord.
Thankfully, no Michiganders were hurt in the incident, and I guess no Ohioans were injured either. The jets were part of the Toledo 180th Fighter Squadron, and the plane in question was identified as Buzz 11. That was their call sign. U.S. Coast Guard says they have successfully collected the lost fuel tank in Lake Huron, and military officials gathered what was left of the tank that fell in the parking lot.
Wow.
So that happened.
Good Lord, dude.
Maybe the biggest question, though, is what happened. The pilot claims they had an emergency. But maybe it was just like a jaded Ohioan, who wanted to stick it to those Michiganders.
That would be one, psychotic, two, a heavy felony.
I mean, yeah.
That would be the ultimate form of pettiness. Like, grr, Michiganders, so I'm going to drop a bomb on them.
But for real, though, this was the Ohio National Guard. This happened with the Ohio National Guard. Like, they just happened to have an emergency when they got over Michigan. They didn't drop both fuel tanks over the water. Why just one of them? It's probably an Ohio State fan. I'm just saying. Are we kicking up the Toledo War again? Do we need to gear up against Ohio? Is that what I'm talking about here, Mark?
I think that's what you're talking about. I don't want any part of it.
I guess I need to go grab my beer helmet and my fart gun, Mark, because that's about the only weapons I have available to me. We ride at dawn. I'm kidding, by the way. It was an accident.
Meatball is declaring war on RKR. That's
not on
RKR.
Right? I'm saying RKR is declaring war on Ohio.
No, I'm not.
It's time to turn up your dials and tune out the traffic because we're playing the Daily 5 on the Rocker Morning Show. Testing the mental magnitude of your favorite morning monkeys on the radio. And now, your hosts for the Daily 5, Meatball and Mark Frankhouse.
It is the Daily 5 where Mark and I ask each other questions. The other one answers. Today, Mark is asking the questions. I'm answering. I got some help on the line today from Paula. Good morning, Paula. How are you?
Good morning. I'm all right. How are you?
We're great. You got to help Meatball get 3 out of 5 questions correct. If you do, he'll take the 1-0 lead for the week. If not, I'll take the 1-point lead for the week.
All right. Fresh start. I feel good.
Sports. Question number 1.
Okay.
How many decades did Detroit Red Wing legend Gordie Howe play in? How many different decades did he play in? 5, 6, or 7? Are you a Red Wings fan, Paula?
Yes, and this one here, I want to say 6.
You're more of an expert on this topic than I am, that's for sure.
So for context, he was born in the 1920s.
So would he?
I believe he started his career in the 40s.
So that would
say 6.
That would put him what, 40s to 70s?
Yep.
No, they put him in the 90s. 6 decades, right?
Yes.
You're talking decades. Yeah, they put him into the 90s. So like if he started playing in 1949,
gotta get an answer.
And he retired in like 1990. God, that's a long time.
Yes, it is. Woo!
it almost feels impossible, especially in hockey.
Right. Exactly.
I'm gonna say my feeling is 5, but I'm gonna lean on you for this one, Paula, since you're the Red Wings fan.
I'm not sure. My first answer was 6. So
okay, let's go with the gut. Let's say 6, and we'll go with that. All right.
All right.
Final answer. Yes,
6. So here's the deal. Gordie Howe played in 1980 for the Hartford Whalers. He didn't play another professional game again until 1997 when he suited up for the Detroit Vipers.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right,
That's
animals.
an insane career.
Animals is question number 2. What is said to be the most endangered animal in the world? Is it the Javan rhino, the Sunda Island tiger, or mountain gorillas?
Ooh, wow.
I think Jane.
I have no clue on this one.
The one with the most attention, obviously, is going to be the mountain gorillas because, like, Jane Goodall brought attention to them,
Right.
and other groups. What were the other two?
The Javan rhino, the Sunda Island tiger, or the mountain gorillas?
Oh, wow.
I would think it would be one of. I think it would be one of the rhinoceroses.
I don't know this one. Oh.
I feel like it's going to be a rhino because to my knowledge, there's really only like one. Because didn't like one of them just became extinct?
Yes.
That was the African rhino.
That was the white rhino.
The white rhino.
Yeah, the
yes.
white rhino.
Right. Yep.
The rhino sticks out to me, Paula.
Me too.
All right,
I agree.
We're going with the rhino. Final answer.
It is the Javan rhino.
Yes.
All right, get this one right and you win. Olympics is question number 3. How many times has there been a shared gold medal in the Olympics? Never, once, or twice?
I know of at least one because they made a big deal about it, and I've seen the clip a dozen times where it's like I forget 2 track athletes that essentially had like the same result, and the Olympic official came up and said, "You can share the result if you want," and he said yes, and so the 2 guys celebrated. So I'm almost certain it's at least once.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. 1. I don't know of any other one.
Let's go with 1. Final answer. Oh,
It did happen in 1912, and it didn't happen again until the last Olympics to the event that you were talking about, Meatball.
it's like a high jump or something. Like that, yeah.
All right.
Wow.
History.
Okay.
When was the first use of the no symbol, which prompted the popularized use of the symbol? No is the prohibited symbol, the
circle with the dash through it?
through
Okay.
it. When was the first use of it? Parking, the Ghostbusters, or smoking?
The Ghostbusters.
Oh, my God.
It's got to be pre-Ghostbuster because that was the 80s, and like surely there were no smoking ads with that like in the 70s or earlier. Yeah.
That seems about right, I think.
What was the other option?
Parking, Ghostbusters, or smoking? And when was the first use of it which prompted the popularized use of the symbol?
The most popular version I could think of is the no smoking sign.
Me too.
And that had to exist before the Ghostbusters.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
Okay. I think we're in agreement. We're going to go no smoking. Final answer. Is it really the Ghostbusters?
Who are you going to call?
Are you kidding me?
No, it's parking.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
damn it, Mark.
Oh, my. Uh-oh. Got to get this one right. After starting 2-0, holidays. Oh, man, we're jumping the gun a little bit on this one. What Christmas single has the biggest sales of all time? Is it White Christmas, All I Want for Christmas Is You, or Last Christmas by Wham?
Oh.
Gosh.
White Christmas, All I Want for Christmas Is You, or Last Christmas? Most sales of all time.
That's the All I Want for Christmas. That's the Mariah Carey song, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I've never heard of the other one, Wham.
That's
you've heard it.
That's the Simply.
That's Wham, miss.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't think it's Wham.
No.
White
I
Christmas.
can't remember.
White Christmas is possible just because of how long it's been around, but I think it's going to be Mariah Carey.
Yeah, Mariah Carey.
All right. We're laying it all out there, Mariah Carey. Final answer.
White Christmas.
No! Ah!
Unfortunately, could not start the week 1-0, but I will. Oh, man, Meatball had a great run. And I'll tell you what, Paula, you did a great job helping Meatball out today. We're going to hook you up with $20 in Michigan Lottery scratch-off tickets.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, man, it's a heartbreaker on a Monday.
I officially already hate Christmas music.
Me too.
It's Halloween music from here on out.
That's right.
107.7 RKR. It's a Rocker Morning Show with Mark Frankhouse.
And Meatball.
There is always a search for teachers and, substitutes throughout the state. It's really hard for schools to hold on to teachers, especially because, well, one, it's like one of the most demanding jobs you can have.
Yeah.
Two, there's been a, kind of a consensus amongst teachers that, one, they're not really taken care of too well. It's just a very hard industry to stay in. And you constantly hear about, the search for teachers and stuff like that. There is a school in Michigan who's having a real hard time finding a teacher. And actually, the search for the teacher may mean the end of the school.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of funny if you think about it, that one teacher might, kind of hold the balance of
it's like
one school.
Kind of a quintessential piece there, I guess. Like, what's the position?
Well, everything. There is literally everything.
Wow.
This school is on Bois Blanc Island, and it's the Bois Blanc Pines School District, which is one school, which is one room with 4 students.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
It's literally a one-room schoolhouse.
It is a one-room schoolhouse, and you can check this out. It's up here on the 107.7 RKR app if you want to look for it. If you know, for somebody who's got the credentials, who is looking for a job, you could be living on Bois Blanc Island, where you literally can't leave in the winter unless it's by plane. And they're looking for not just a teacher, but a counselor, a principal, and a purchasing agent, all in one.
Wait, okay, there's 4 kids in this school?
Yeah, there's 4 kids currently enrolled in the fall school program.
How old are these kids? Like, are we talking?
They range.
Are they all,
over the years? They've
literally
been
kindergarten to senior?
They've been different ages, mainly like early elementary, so 1, 2, but they've gone up to like middle school. They're just random because there's not that many people that live on Bois Blanc.
Sure.
Like permanent, like full time.
Yeah, it's a super small island.
So it's, it's understandable because it is a one room schoolhouse that you're going to have to be pretty flexible when it comes to educating a couple of kids of different ages.
Your kindergartner is going to either be learning algebra or your junior in high school is going to be learning his ABCs.
You're literally going to have to you're going to have to learn the alpha generation slang.
Oh, God.
But then like go back to like normal speaking to when it comes to like the kindergartner or the first grader.
Can you imagine teaching like modern history courses to a 5-year-old? Like, I mean, when you're 15, 16, 17, you're mature enough to handle some of those subjects that you talk about in history class. But like hearing about the Crusades when you're 5, like that seems a bit much.
I think they have a little bit different criteria, Meatball. I don't think they're going to be teaching 5th graders or 5-year-olds about the Black Death.
All right, the kindergarten kid, go sit in the corner and play with your blocks. Put on your earmuffs. We're going to learn about the Black Death and the plague, baby. 107.7 RKR, it is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
All right, it's time for our Olympics check-in for the day. We're into the second week now of the Olympics. Just a quick recap of things that happened over the weekend. Simone Biles, 2024 Olympics officially done now, solidifying that she is the absolute GOAT for gymnastics. Now the most decorated gymnast in Olympic history. She got her 10th medal and another gold for the vault.
So awesome.
Swimming, going out with a bang for the U.S. Katie Ledecky winning her 4th straight 800-meter race for the Olympics. Gold. That's now 9 total gold medals for her and 14 overall. now the most decorated female Olympian in history. She does plan to come back in 2024 in LA to become the most decorated athlete, period, of all time, even beating Michael Phelps.
Jeez.
Beginning of track and field over the weekend, U.S. off to a hot start with 9 medals, including 2 gold in the men's shot put and the new fastest man alive. And it is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card-wielding Noah Lyles from the U.S. On the men's 100-meter, he won by the narrowest margin in Olympic history, 0.005 of a second. He ran a 9.784, while the silver medal went to Jamaican Kashane Thompson with a 9.789. All 8 runners in the heat finished within a quarter second of each other. Incredible.
That is so wild.
And another surprise for the U.S. after a late crash that separated about a dozen riders from the pack in the women's road race on Sunday. Kristen Faulkner of the U.S. took home the gold in the women's road race after only taking up cycling 7 years ago as a hobby in Central Park, though she's originally from Alaska. In fact, she wasn't even supposed to be in the race, but another teammate, Taylor Knibb, gave up her spot to Faulkner in the road race to focus on the triathlon. That seemed to definitely work out in Faulkner's favor.
Man.
Checking on the medal count, U.S. exploded in the medals this weekend, had their single best medaling day in Olympics history on Saturday with 18 medals. Previously, their highest day was 13. I believe that was at the Sochi Olympics. They are now in second place in the medal count with 19 gold, 27 silver, 26 bronze, still leading overall, huge with 72 total medals. In first place, China with 20 gold medals. Though that might change pretty quick this morning because I think badminton is doing their final right now. 15 silver and 12 bronze for China as well. France in third with 12 gold, 14 silver, 18 bronze. Australia, 12 gold, 11 silver, 8 bronze. And Great Britain in fifth, 10 gold, 12 silver, 16 bronze. Today's schedule, relatively slow day in comparison to this weekend. Only 8 medaling events today, including badminton, basketball 3x3, which the U.S. men were eliminated from yesterday. My new favorite sport, men's and women's kayak cross. So much fun to watch. Yeah. Women's team sprint cycling. We're now on the track now with the bikes. Gymnastics apparatus, skeet shooting, and men's rapid fire pistol. A few track events as well, including men's pole vault and women's discus. And the mixed relay triathlon events starting today. Wrestling, climbing, and synchronized swimming. And you know I love me some synchronized swimming, Mark.
Oh, yeah. I see you out in the pool during the summer. You're just doing all the synchronized swimming activities and the synchronicity.
I think the closest thing I come to synchronized swimming is just attempting to float elegantly while listening to synchronicity. That's about the closest it comes. 107.7 RKR, it is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
Hey, Mark Frankhouse.
Well, one of the big stories of the weekend was that Aerosmith retired. In fact, we got that news on Friday, I believe. Yeah, right before we went to Alice Cooper. The official statement has been released from the band. The short version is Steven Tyler's recovery not going as well as they thought it was going to, so they have made the difficult decision to come off the road since producing and recording and performing music from the 70s on until now, an almost 50-plus year career. They've loved every aspect of it, every minute of it, and they can't thank the fans and everybody who has supported them enough. But the time has come, and Aerosmith officially calling it quits as far as touring is concerned.
Yeah, I think it's just about time. I think after a certain amount of time, if the band is not going to be able to put out the best performance possible, you would much rather gracefully bow out.
Yeah.
You always hate to see those bands where you're like, they've
gone too far.
They should probably hang it up. And
definitely
you don't
not Motley Crue.
Definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
But it's funny to think like the timing of this is interesting because if memory serves, the Peace Out World Tour, if they had continued and he hadn't broken his larynx, would have been wrapping up right about now.
Pretty much.
I think.
Yeah.
So it's fitting that I think, they were already going to say, you know what, this is it. This is the last time. They got a few shows in. People did get to see them for the last time. And that's, a pretty incredible thing that they did. But the last thing I would want is to see them live knowing that Steven Tyler's at like 50%.
Right, exactly.
Because, I mean, nothing against everybody else in that band because, like you mentioned, top of the show, all incredible musicians. They've all got their own projects going on outside of Aerosmith, and they are all just legends in their field. But if you go see Aerosmith, you go to see Steven Tyler and all the scarves and that huge voice. Like, it just wouldn't be the same if he wasn't the same.
Yeah, you don't want to go out there and Vince Neil yourself and have the crowd go, yeah. Especially a band of that caliber, too. One of the biggest and most loved American rock bands out there. In terms of classic rock, I mean, they're top 10 easily. So it's smart that they're looking out for him. And again, as we mentioned before, there's no saying that they're only just done touring. They may eventually put out new music when Steven Tyler's voice is good. If he's able to, if his doctor's like, yeah, you could record an album. I wouldn't go farther than that. You could do like, 1 or 2 shows here and there. Like if you could do a residency, like where you get 4 or 5 days to rest, like, that's entirely possible still, but easily.
I got to tell you, I mean, like, Aerosmith, one of those bands that, when we were coming up, like, obviously they were huge in the 90s. And then, the Armageddon soundtrack came out, and that was like half of them as well.
Right.
And that got me digging back, and like Toys in the Attic still is one of my favorite classic rock records of all time.
Yeah, 9 Lives. I remember I got really into that album when I was a kid. So, again, everything you need to know about the Aerosmith retirement, it's up here on the 107.7 RKR app. And who knows, give it a little bit of time, give it some vocal rest. You never know, they might come out with a new album.
That'd be pretty awesome. 107.7 RKR, it is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
Rare occurrence in Lake Michigan over the weekend, an earthquake shaking the bottom of the lake, a 2.9 in magnitude.
Good Lord.
Very rare for earthquakes to happen under the lake, and this is the first one ever recorded over a 2.5. There's only been like, I want to say half a dozen or so that have been recorded in the lake.
Huh.
But this just happened a few miles from the deepest point of the lake, which is between like, I think this one occurred at like 650, 700 feet, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then the actual quake was just 10 feet below the surface.
Good Lord.
People in the Wisconsin Peninsula over there felt it, as did a few people in the Michigan side of the lake. But this, I don't know, it's interesting that this is happening because, this is the biggest quake they've ever felt in the lake. Not huge, but still significant, in that regard. This comes about like a week or so after that hydrothermal explosion out in Yellowstone. That geyser that like exploded and like nobody was hurt, but I mean, it was pretty wild looking. And then over in Italy, Mount Etna has started spewing more ash and lava. And then we all remember, the volcano earlier this year opening up in Iceland. I don't know. Are we talking about the apocalypse now, Mark?
I would hope not. I really don't. Don't really like
all because of
idea.
A 2.9 earthquake in Lake Michigan.
Yeah, no, thank you. I know we've had those instances before where we've had earthquakes in the area. It's not, they're very rare and usually very light too. So that's when I heard about the earthquake, I was like, bro, like that. When the heck did that happen?
Yeah.
I didn't feel that at all. But
have you felt an earthquake though?
Yeah, it was actually funny because one time it was like,
oh yeah, you just kind of get nudged, right?
And I was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, you weren't here. I'm trying to remember when this was. I think this was late 2019. Some of you will probably remember this. It wasn't an earthquake, but I can't remember where I was. Maybe it was like earlier than this. I was sitting in my room and I was talking to someone on Snapchat, and I was like video chatting with them. And as I'm talking to them, and mind you, I'm in Kalamazoo. They're on the east side. I see this like flash outside my window. I'm like, okay. And then I'm talking to them, and then 3 seconds later, they like their attention goes sideways, and they see a flash, and like something just flashed out here.
Yeah.
And then we heard this big boom, And yeah, it was a meteorite that exploded in the Earth's atmosphere.
It was
coming over
Ohio.
Michigan.
It was Ohio dropping bombs on Michigan. Again.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what that was. No, let me just tell you.
Can't trust him.
I have experience. I was living in Oklahoma when that one happened. It was like a 4 something or whatever that happened just outside of Stillwater, which is up in northeast Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I was in southern Oklahoma, and the jarring feeling of the ground beneath you moving. You have no control over this whatsoever. You know, if it were a wind event, if it were water, whatever, like you get away from it. There's no escaping this. The ground is the only way to get away from this is to hover, and we don't have that ability. I'm not Superman. It is the most uncomfortable, disorienting, strange feeling you will ever feel.
Yeah. I just don't want to be involved in an earthquake. I'm honestly good on all that crap.
Yeah. Where do we go where there's not earthquakes anymore?
Well, I'd say the Michigan ones are pretty light, so we'll be all right.
Yeah. I mean, they're not so bad, I guess. I don't know. Antarctica is starting to sound pretty nice these